Hey,
Thank
Michelle,
you
how are you?
for hi, thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
IT skills, mad IT skills, skills at work. So before we jump into this, tell me why you do what you do, and why it gets you so excited.
Cool. So I'm the executive director for an organization that's called Black Girls Hack. So we focus primarily on bridging the gap between the skills that you get from school and what's needed to get into the workforce. So we provide ethical hacking training in various areas, as well as study groups to help get ready for certifications, and pretty much any of the things that you need as far as certifications or getting ready for a job or interviewing. We're trying to provide those to kind of reduce some of the barriers to entry into cybersecurity. So we're doing that, and I absolutely love it because we are connecting on a weekly basis with so many people across the country who are just trying to get hacking skills and are trying to learn so that they can get careers in cybersecurity. So I'm excited when I see that come to fruition.
Well, and I know we were just talking before this live started that I sent you two gals that are clamoring, desperate for these skills, really, really excited to hop into this space. And yeah, I mean, how did this get started for you? I mean, when did it get started, and how did it get started?
So we started as an Instagram page, and we were basically sharing information about cybersecurity, about ethical hacking resources. There are a lot of financial barriers to entry as far as the high cost of certifications, the high cost of trainings, and it was basically built out of my own frustration trying to get into a full cybersecurity role. And then I realized just through interacting with people through the Instagram page, there were a lot of people out there that were like me. So in September, we founded it as a nonprofit, and we got started, and we started hosting meetups and just basic Linux foundations. Basic cybersecurity skills, doing study groups. We started our Security Plus study group and our Certified Ethical Hacker study groups at that time. And there were a lot of people that were interested, and not just, women and Black women. There were, our squad is comprised of like a lot of different people. I think we've got maybe around 350 so people across the United
Nice.
States. And we've got a couple of folks that are in Africa and Europe as well. So, we have people who, dial in at all times of the day or night to just hack with us, and I absolutely love it. Because you get to interface with a lot of different people who come from a lot of different places, but I think the common theme is that they're trying to get skills so that they can take those skills to the workforce and lead lucrative careers.
What were you doing before you were in this field and before you started this?
My day job is actually I'm a IT consultant in the government sector.
Okay.
So I've been doing that for maybe about 15 years now. But like I said, I'm trying to move out of what was probably like a 25% cybersecurity
Yeah.
role into something that was 100%. And I was finding a lot of difficulty in doing that. And I realized that if I'm having difficulty with several master's degrees and all of my education and certifications and stuff, that I imagine that other people are having those issues as well. So I think I was mentioning to you right before this call, we had a talk on Clubhouse yesterday about
Yeah.
certifications and degrees and what's the best way to approach careers in cybersecurity. And what you see after having conversations with a lot of different folks is that there's a common trend of I want to do cybersecurity. I see that it's going to be continue to grow as an industry and as a sector, and I want to know the best way to get in and gain experience and be able to grow with an organization. And people come from a wide variety of different backgrounds. So, some of them may have degrees, may not. Some of them may, be able to afford certifications, and some of them may not. It really just, people who are trying to find low cost ways to get skills so that they can, like I said, get into the workforce.
Well, and we talk about street creds a lot. And so, I mean, there's obviously education, there's certifications, there's the experience. I mean, what's your advice to someone that's trying to move and gain these skills? Is it stepping stones? Is it a combination of all those? What's really the most important, and how do they go about getting them?
So what I recommend to people, especially if they're trying to, navigate within the ethical hacking and offensive security space, is that they get involved with sites like, Range Force, like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. That they get into those platforms and actually complete the rooms and actually complete the boxes, and use that to perform, to provide kind of a portfolio that's going to show someone who's looking at them, like, hey, I may come from an
Mm,
accounting background or a marketing background or some other area or project management background, but I have these skills and I can show you that I've been navigating in this space, like you said, kind of like building your street cred, being able to show that you have a home lab, that you're able to do ethical hacking within that home lab, so that, and you're able to use the tools, so that you can show them that you have the skills, even though you may not have demonstrated it through your previous work experience. So, for me, I think that it's best for people to just get in and just start hacking. Like if you want to
mm,
focus on web application security, for example, there are like bug bounty sites out there. There are different ways that you can, kind of gain visibility in the field to show people that you know what you're talking about, even
nice.
outside of being, actually working in the field.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so the certifications, then, what's your thought on the certifications, and so you're dig in, get your hands dirty is what I'm hearing. Dig into this, get familiar with it. Um, what about the certifications? How do they go about doing that? I mean, I know you help, but is that critical also?
I think so. So we took a look at some of the, entry level jobs in a lot of different areas, and what we found is that, something like 80% of the jobs require a bachelor's degree. So they want you to have at least some level of education there, right? But in
Mhm.
addition to that, some higher percentage, maybe like 60% want you to have some level of certification, whether that be a Security Plus certification, whether that be like a certified ethical hacker or an OSCP. There's a lot of certifications depending on which areas that you're, navigating in, which swim lane, if you will, within
Mhm.
cybersecurity you're operating in. There's a lot of different certifications that you can get that can show your expertise. And I think the things that I like about some of the certifications, like at the OSCP, the junior pen testing exam, is that they require hands-on skills as opposed to just, knowledge base where you're answering multiple choice questions to show your mastery of a subject, right? So some of these certifications actually require you to get
Yeah.
in to actually hack to show that you have the skills, so that in that designation, represents to HR, to the hiring managers, that you at least have a knowledge of what it is that you're trying to do.
Nice. What's your take on volunteering to also get into this space or gain skills in this way?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit, so like,
You're like,
this is my
okay, I would love some volunteers to help me here, right?
Absolutely. So what we do at Black Girls Hack is, we actually ask the volunteers to volunteer in the area that they have an interest in, right? So we want them to find something that's mutually beneficial for their world domination plan. I try to ask all
World
of the folks.
domination plan. Yes. That's great. That's
Yeah,
fantastic, Tanisha.
I ask folks to, let me know what it is that they're trying to do, because I would really like that their work with Black Girls Hack to further, their world domination plan, so that it'll work towards, what it is they're trying to do in the future, right? So, when folks are saying, hey, I really don't have any experience, I'm saying, hey, we have a lot of those same functions that we need in nonprofit space, even if it's not with Black Girls Hack, other organizations as well. We work with a lot of dope nonprofit organizations that need people to do, for example, training, or they need even like accounting or legal things. There's so
Mhm.
many, sections or swim lanes within cybersecurity that you can gain experience and with a nonprofit, right? And you can put that same information on your resume so that
That's where I was
people
going
can
next.
see.
Yeah.
So that people can see, I recommend that people put their home labs on their resume, so they put their volunteer experience on the resume, because volunteer experience, even though you're not getting paid, is still, experience that you can apply to a job, that you can take to the workforce.
Nice. On the home lab side, how does that work? How would someone go about setting that up or doing that in a low cost or no cost way so that they can play and dig in and get familiar with the technology and the tools?
Yeah, so what we do, maybe about once a month, in the beginning of the month, we have a home lab set up. So we work with people on setting up like a virtual box or a VMware
Mm,
home lab, which is free for them to be able to download. We have them add, maybe three VMs, a broken web app, which is an intentionally vulnerable VM, and then a Kali machine, which is like their attack machine, and then another like Windows machine. And the reason why we do that is because I think at the basis of ethical hacking, you want to make sure that you can be able to approach Linux machines, Windows machines, and be able to use the tools that are on the Kali box to be able to do your ethical hacking, right? So we work with people to set up those virtualized environments to make sure that they're networked so that they can practice those skills in the safety of their home, and not just like safety as far as no one else is around, but safety as far as making sure that you're not scanning, for example, networks that someone else owns that you may not have the ability, um, that you're not supposed to, the authorization to scan, for example, right? So we have them set up a home lab so that they can just do the scanning, they can do the web application testing, they can work on their Linux skills. There's a whole number of
mm.
skills that they can work on in the home lab that doesn't cost any money. And we're also trying to set up something within Black Girls Hack, which is the cloud labs, so that we can allow people who don't have the resources on their computers, because VMs are pretty large. Like a Windows VM is like 20
Right.
gigs, takes up a lot of space, right? So if you've got, like a crappy laptop, that may not be something that will allow you to
It
be able
might just die and choke and go.
to. Yeah,
Ah.
I, I completely understand that. I actually just upgraded my laptop because, my old laptop, who I affectionately call Bertha, she didn't want to cooperate. So, we're trying to set it
She
something
quit
up in the
on you,
lab. She
Tanisha. She
did.
quit on you.
She
She's like,
died.
I'm done. I've had it with you. I've had it with you.
Yeah, so we're trying to set it up so that they can, people who don't have resources on their laptops, so they can just through a web browser be able to log in, access the cloud labs, and be able to do ethical hacking again, in an environment that they have permission and they don't have to worry about legal issues, for example. So because I want people to be able to work on their skills, but at the same time I don't want anyone being like, I was learning how to hack and I ended up in jail, and I don't want.
No, that's not good. Well, and it sounds like you create an environment where people can learn and also make errors in a safe way. So if they do screw something up, then there's other people around to help create bumpers so you're not crashing into anything.
Absolutely. So like, we work with them when we do the home labs. We tend to like limit it to maybe around 10, 15 people, because we want
Okay.
them to be able to share their screen. We want them to be able to troubleshoot. We want to be able to help them network the computers and understand what it is that they're doing. Right. So if they do mess
Mm,
up, we can help them and, help them understand where they messed up. Right. When you make mistakes on your home lab, it's not as serious as making a mistake in, for example, an enterprise environment, right? If you
right.
decide to remove all of the folders because you're trying out your Linux skills, removing all of the folders in your
Or
home lab,
Linux
you can
skin.
just.
I mean, there are people that would like to wear a Linux skin, right?
Yeah, so you can kind of like blow the VM away and just start over again, right? So no harm, no foul. But in a production environment, that might cause some issues. So we want
For
people to be able to
sure.
practice their skills and get comfortable.
Yeah, I love that. What's your take on the amount of time that it requires to become proficient in this space?
So I think like anything, if you want to be good at it, you really have to just spend the time. Like I literally have an appointment on my calendar every day at 10:30 at night where I hop on and I'm working on a try hack me box or a hack the box box, so that I'm working on my ethical hacking skills. So I'm improving my craft. Like anything, like even if you were like an artist or if you were an author, the more that you practice, the more that you work on it, the better your skills going to get. going to get. So, I think it's important that you spend the time and, you make it a priority as you would anything that's important to you. So I think that it requires that to gain a mastery, you have to practice it. You have to try to get better at it. And if you put the time in, you'll be able to see the results. I think like most things.
So don't put your your ice skates on and expect to to skate like a professional, right? You got to get on the ice every time on a regular basis in order to be really proficient at that skill, whatever that may be.
Yeah, and I think that like unlike riding a bike, like, if you decide to, take a break for a couple months or maybe even a couple of years, just the way the
Mm,
technology changes, the things that you knew as truths before may not be the same, a year from now or a month from now, whatever the case may be. So it's important that you continually, work. Exploits change, threats change. It's important that you continue to keep yourself updated on what's going on in the environment, just so you can have a good foundation level understanding of hacking. When we look at,
exactly.
I was going to say, when we look at the things like web hacking, like the OWASP top 10 has pretty much been the same probably for the past decade, right? So that hasn't
Mm.
changed. Maybe their order has changed, but I think with anything within cybersecurity, you have to kind of stay up to date and continually practice your craft.
Well, there's always new vulnerabilities, right? I mean, there's always someone trying, something crazy and trying to exploit those vulnerabilities. So yeah, I mean, staying up to speed on that is a requirement. You know
Yeah.
what's funny? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So I was told, you can't forget to ride a horse, right? Well, that is
Mhm.
actually untrue. I was on a horse. Well, I learned to ride a horse like 20 years ago, and then I got back on one. Oh no, no, it
Didn't work
doesn't
out.
work. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I think the bike analogy still holds true, but the horse, that's not true. You can forget to do that. Um, so Tanisha, I want to make sure I've got the URL right so I can put it here in the chat. It's www.blackgirlshack.org, correct? Is that
That's
right?
correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. And what would be, I mean, this is awesome information. I mean, I think that the number one thing that I took away is to get started and actually start digging in, find the resources like what you've just shared, your organization, work with others to test those skills. Is there any other major takeaway that you want people to hear?
I would just say not to be afraid to jump in. I have a lot of
Mm,
people, especially on like the Black Girls Hack Squad, that are kind of afraid. Like, hey, I don't want to jump in. We'll do King of the Hill, which is like a kind of like capture the flag type competition sometimes, and people will say, hey, I've never done that. I've never done a capture the flag. I don't have enough skills to jump in. I don't think I know enough right now. And what I would suggest to people is that they, just jump in. A lot of our programming is focused on people who are beginners, people who, maybe are not familiar
mhm.
with what's going on. So I would suggest that ask questions and network, because, if someone says to me, for example, like, hey, I'm not really great at like Linux command line, we have some training coming up, some workshops coming up that are focused on Linux, and they're geared towards beginners, right? So, there's no way to, get better, to get more comfortable than to just jump in. And you'll find that once you jump in, then you can start talking about the things that you're
Mhm.
doing and take that, back to your jobs and take that to your job interviews, so that you can, express to people that, you're trying to expand your skills, trying to, enhance your skills and take those back to work, so that you can actually use some of the real world tools that we use in our workshops, and take those back to your new job.
Awesome. And wear your Linux skin. Right.
Yes, your Linux
That's
skin.
right. You can use that again. Like we're gonna learn to wear our Linux skin.
We're
Oh, that's so
replacing
funny.
the hoodie with a Linux
That's
skin.
right. There we go. Like remember those like the is it not a mime, but how they had you're just in this giant skin. I don't know. They're blue and purple, and I don't know. They had a band or something like the drummers. I don't know what they're
I
called.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
I
kind of
can't.
like
Oh,
covered
Blue
in
Man Group.
latex.
Blue Man Group, right? Aren't they? I think
Yeah.
it's like covered in latex. Exactly. That's what I'm envisioning. Oh, Tennisha, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And my hope is that this gives some play for you, your organization, and for others that are interested in diving into IT and cybersecurity.
Yeah, that would be great. I just wanted to mention that, like, Black Girls Hack is literally open to everyone. Everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of race or gender, is welcome to come out and join us and to hack with us. And, we really just want to, help bridge the gap between what's being taught in schools, so that people can get jobs in cybersecurity. So, please join us, come out and hack with us.
Thank you for what you're doing, Tennisha. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. It was nice
All
speaking with
right.
you.
You have a great day. We'll,
You too.
we'll talk to you soon. Bye.